Hello and welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. I'm so happy you're here and that you've chosen to spend a little part of your day with me for some creative inspiration. As you know, it is the first Thursday of the month, which means I will be sharing with you my monthly 12 by 12 inch one sheet wonder. And you're going to love this one. Of course, all of these that I design and prepare for you, I do have to choose a designer series paper. But the great thing about one sheet wonders is you can make the cards just like I did, or you can choose your own favorite papers and colors for any occasion card that you want to make. Before I jump into that, I do want to throw out this reminder that Stampin' Up! Has this month what I believe to be the very best deal you will ever see in Stampin' Up! And in my 17 years of being a demonstrator, this is truly the best join offer I've ever seen. Normally, our join offer is $99 and you choose $125 of product. This month, for choosing $125 of product, you're going to pay just $35 plus tax, and it all ships free. Or you can spend the $99 plus tax, and you'll choose $189 of product, and all of that ships free as well. So please consider this. If you love Stampin' Up! Products, or you're new to the craft and new to Stampin' Up! And you want to build up your inventory, if you simply want to add supplies, necessary supplies or tools to your inventory, this is a great time to do that. And I have a great team of demonstrators. We call ourselves the Merry Stampers, MERRY. We have a private Facebook group. You will have access to any of my Class to Go PDF tutorials free, in addition to my One Sheet Wonder PDF tutorials free in our group. And we do get together virtually and share ideas and various things. And occasionally I have an in-person event at my house, but we are spread across the country. So when I have an in-person event for my team, I make sure that the following week I do the same presentation virtually for those people who can't make it in person. So we've got a great group of demonstrators. The majority are hobbyists enjoying a discount and enjoying being a part of our creative group. And there are a few business builders as well. So no matter what you want from being a demonstrator, this is the best time to join. So if you have any questions about that, or just joining in general, you can contact me through stampinpeace.com. Go to stampinpeace.com, fill out the contact form, and it gets sent right to my email. That is always the easiest way to contact me, anytime, okay? All right, it's time to start on, well, come on. You know, I'm doing touchscreen with my finger. This computer is not touchscreen. What was I thinking? Okay, first of all, because you know I love designing with our beautiful designer series papers, I want to show you all of the papers that are in the Traditions of Christmas pack. So here's one. And also this, the suite that this is a part of is what I call a mega suite, because it has 2 stamp and die bundles, one of which I'll be using today. The other one that I'm not using does have a die that will cut out all of these flower bouquets here. And there's the back side, pattern in old olive. Here's another one. There is a die to cut out these large flower arrangements. And then because I feel like I have to use all of my paper, I fussy cut all these little flowers with leaves. And it was super easy. I was watching television when I did it. Secret C. Look at this, how beautiful and rich it is with all the tones of reds and the metallic gold. Another pattern in old olive. Here we got in some of this light pink. It's not quite pretty in pink. It's softer than that, I would say. But really, really elegant looking. More Secret C on the back. This is stunning. I think these vivid, bright red, white flowers coming out against the Secret C background is really awesome. A great plaid. And this is a plaid, and actually, even all these backsides and this plaid, these are ones you can use throughout the year. When I look at a pack of paper or a stamp set or a bundle, I like to think about how it can be used beyond its anticipated use. Because the more variety we get from our products, the more we use them, and the more bang for our buck, right? You have to think of buying our products as an investment, and we want to get the most we can from that investment. And here is the last one, and it's got this pretty red on cherry cobbler polka dot design. And this is the one, is it? Let me double check. Yes, I could use any of them, but this is the one I'm using today for our 12 by 12 one sheet wonder cards. Of course, you know, the most important thing about a one sheet wonder is cutting the paper as designed. So I'm going to start by cutting, and this is a non-directional paper. If you're using a directional paper, you should still be able to cut it as I am and use it that way. But if you goof or something's not the right direction, you just change the orientation of your card. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm going to cut at 4-inch increments. And then each of these 4-inch by 12-inch strips, I'll be cutting individually. So on the first one, I'm turning it to the horizontal position, and I'm cutting at 4-inch increments. And this will leave me with 3 4-inch squares for card sketch A. And this one sheet wonder uses 4 card sketches. 3 of those are actually fun folds. So doing things a little bit different. Every month is different when it comes to the one sheet wonders, right? And again, the next strip, I'm going to cut at 5 1/4 inches. And again at 5 1/4 inches. Excuse me. And then this last piece, I'm going to cut at 3/4 inch, so I'm cutting it in half. And when I use these for card sketch D, I'm actually going to be flipping them over. And for these two, I'm going to put them in the vertical position. I'm going to stack mine and cut them both at once. You can do that, or you can cut them separately, but they will both be cut the same way. And you're going to start by cutting at 2 3/4 inches. And then you're going to cut at 1 inch. And these 1 inch by 5 1/4 inch pieces and the 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 inch pieces will be flipped over, and all of the pieces here will be used for card sketch B. For the last 4-inch by 12-inch strip, I'm going to cut at, let me double check, yes, 2 1/2-inch increments. So you'll get 4 4-inch by 2.5-inch pieces for card sketch C. And then this 4 by 2-inch piece will be used with our 3/4-inch strips for card D. All right. And just so you know, I'm going to put this here for a moment. Traditional Labels is one of the bundles that comes with the Traditions of Christmas suite. And I love both parts, both the mix and match sentiments here, plus all of these label dies. And of course, some of these stamps, some of the stamps, to, from, to you, wishes, sending wishes, just for you, those can be used throughout the year. Just like you could probably get loads and loads and loads of use from the Traditional Labels dies. So the first card, or card sketch A, I'm going to make 3 cards. And remember, I have these 1-inch squares. These were from the first 4-inch by 12-inch strip that I cut. And these are going to fit right in here. And let me show you what I did. So my card base is Old Olive, and it's 11 inches by 4 1/4. Okay, 11 inches by 4 1/4. I scored it at 4 1/4 inches. So I think of it this way: I put it in, and I scored it 4 1/4 inches and 5 1/2. Folded it in half, and then folded the flap towards the front. And now I have this binding area, I'm going to call it. Some people call this the book binding fold. Some people call it the photograph album fold. Whatever it is to you, it's sort of like creating a book binding here. Now we are going to seal this, but I did not want to seal this until I wrapped my ribbon around. And that gold metallic measures 1 inch by 4 inches. Okay, the gold metallic is 1 inch by 4 inches, and the DSP that I cut from the One Sheet Wonder is 4 by 4. And I'm just going to tie a nice knot there. Now you could also use a longer piece of ribbon. And this is, I think this is just called Real Red Shiny Ribbon. Yes, Real Red Shiny Ribbon. But what I want you to see is, I'm not sure how well it's showing up. It's got a shimmer to it. It's not a shine like a satin ribbon, but it does have a really pretty shimmer to it. I'm going to twist these, see if I can get the shimmer side up. And then I'll simply trim my ends. And like I said, if you want to wrap and tie a bow here, you can do that. You would just need more ribbon. Whoops, more ribbon than what I used. Then for the other two, oops, I have to seal the book binding now. And I like to do this with my multi-purpose glue, my liquid glue. And make sure the ribbon, or the knot in front, is exactly where you want it, because you won't be able to move it around after you adhere this. So I put my glue on, and then I just press firmly for a few seconds right on that binding end. Okay. So I'm pressing down, gluing and pressing down the area between the 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 inch score lines. And there's where you can see people refer to it as a book binding, or, oops, I'm not giving it enough time. I need to leave it closed and give it some more time. But you see what I mean by it being called a bookbinding fun fold or a photograph album fold. Now let's finish off the other two. Again, 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I scored at 4 1/4 and 5.5 inches. And I'm just going to seal this up. And my white cardstock inside is 4 by 4 inches. So it's the same size as the DSP has been cut. And the gold strip I put on, again, is 1 inch by 4 inches. And for these two cards, instead of wrapping the ribbon and tying a bow, I just tied a bow and then put it on with some glue dots. So just to show you a couple variations. I love how that little bit of gold strip really brings out the metallic gold in the designer series paper. And then I'm going to finish off with these sentiments. Now, I'm going to give you a tip here. And this is something I practiced with first. So I die cut a piece of my cardstock with that die, that particular die. Then I stamped the Mary pretty high on there, and then I stamped and bright underneath it. And if I didn't have it quite right, I flipped it over and did it on back because this was my practice piece, right? So yes, I used 2 different stamps and 2 different clear blocks with 2 different inks. Okay, you get how I did that, right? But my point is sometimes when you're doing that to get things positioned in the right place, it takes a few extra seconds to do a practice, but it's very helpful. You'll be glad you took the few extra seconds to practice. I think it's a fun stamp set because it does allow us to mix and match. I could have put all different sentiments on these cards. I'm trying to think, did I glue down the third one? I don't think I did. Nope. I'm going to do it right now because I don't want to forget. But I wanted to be sure and do it while you were watching. So you got that step. And normally I would glue this unless I'm putting wrapping ribbon around it because I want that ribbon to be hidden inside the binding. But otherwise I would adhere that area first and then add my other pieces. So again, for card sketch A, the base is 11 inches by 4 1/4, scored at 4 1/4 inches and 5.5 inches. And then that created the fun fold. Basic white inside is a 4 by 4 square. The DSP is 4 by 4, and those pieces were cut from the One Sheet Wonder. And then my gold strip is 1 inch by 4 inch. That would be pretty with another coordinating paper from the same pack even. Okay, so that's card sketch A. On to the next one, another fun fold, and this time we're going to make 2. And this is what I call an off-center gatefold. Okay, off-center gatefold card with a belly band. So think of it this way. Here's my card base, and I'm going to pull out my scorer. So think of it this way. I've got 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Okay, 8.5 by 5.5 inches. My score line, my first score line is at 3 inches. Okay. Then I took that and flipped it around and scored at 1.25 inch. Okay. So this time when I made my score lines, I did it from opposite sides. Okay. I've cut cardstock 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it 2 3/4 on one end. I flipped it and scored it 1. Oh, wait, did I say 2 2/4? It's 3. Scored it 3 inches and then 1 1/4. So whatever you're scoring, the total should be 4 1/4 inches because that's the width of our card. So again, scored it 3 inches, flipped it around, and scored at 1 1/4. And then both of those flaps were folded to the front. Okay, gave them a nice crease with my bone folder. Inside, I adhered white, which measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to hold those strips for later. So now I'm ready for all of these pieces that I cut from the One Sheet Wonder. Remember, these pieces came from 2 4-inch by 5 1/4 inch pieces. And then I cut 1 inch off, flipped it, and that left me with a 1/4 inch strip that I flipped. So we're going to add all of these right now. And you can easily tell where the pieces are going to go. There's the 2 3/4 inch piece. This is the 1 inch by 5 1/4 inch strip. Cherry Cobbler is probably my favorite red. I love real red just because it's a true red. And I think of it as a true Santa Claus red. But I love the richness of that deep Cherry Cobbler color. It's not often that I do so many fun folds during a monthly One Sheet Wonder, but I was having too much fun not to. And you guys can do it. These are easy enough. You can handle it. No doubt in my mind. Now for those 1/4 inch strips, I'm going to open up my cards, and these are going to get glued to the left edge of my white cardstock. And I want just the smallest, narrowest line of glue. You could even dot it, dot the glue if that's easier for you, because I don't want glue seeping out all over the place. And it'll let me adjust it just a wee bit if I need to, like that. But you definitely don't want to overuse the glue here. And one more. Taking it all the way to the edge of the white cardstock makes it really easy to adhere this straight. There. Okay, now I'm going to close these up and finish off these cards, these off-center gatefold cards with a belly band. Now, in this case, I cut a strip of two-tone olive, old olive cardstock, two-tone old olive cardstock. The reason being I like that it's thinner than the usual cardstock. So I feel like it makes it easier to make your belly band. So really you can have the darker side, it is of the two-tone cardstock is what is meant to be the actual Stampin' Up! Color. The opposite side, the lighter shade, is meant to be a lighter shade of that original Stampin' Up! Color. So what I'm going to do is just, and this strip is, let me double check, yes, 10 inch by 1 inch. 10 inches by 1 inch. And I'm going to hold it about the middle. I do not like to score my belly bands. The reason being is I could say, well, I want to score the belly band, so far in and so far in. But when you actually fold it, that score line doesn't always take in account the thickness of the card already. So that's why I don't do that. For this, I'm just going to take the one end and take it to about where that the right edge of that larger piece of designer series paper on the front. Pick it up a little bit here. Just kind of hold it in place, take that around and just kind of pinch that fold there. And then I'm going to pull the other side over and kind of pinch that. So that will give me a nice fold. And then I'm going to add some adhesive. Now let's be careful where we're putting the adhesive because the belly band is meant to slide on and off the card. So I like to put a little on the inside of the right edge and a little bit on the outside of the right edge, holding down. I'm calling it the right edge because this would be the left fold, okay? You could also think of it as the outside edge. And then I'm just going to hold that in place for a few seconds. And some of you are probably thinking, Mary, why did you not put the seam in the back? I like seams to be hidden. Okay, so sometimes I put them on, depending on what I'm making, sometimes they're in the back, like right on the edge. Get as close to that edge, and that's a way to hide it. In this case, I'm putting something on the front, so I knew that my sentiment, my label, would cover that seam. But anytime you have the opportunity to hide or cover a seam, go ahead and do that. It just gives your card a nicer, clean cut finish, more of a professional looking finish. Okay. And you want your belly band snug, but moving on and off. You can hear it kind of gliding along the edges of the card. That means it's snug enough that it's not going to slide off, right? But it's loose enough that it moves easily for me. So let me repeat that for you. Again, I'm starting with a 10 inch by 1 inch strip. I'm laying my card just about at the middle of it and taking my strip over to, I don't like to take it all the way to the edge there, but I'm taking it to the edge of the DSP on the front. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that just gives you kind of a guide to use. And then I pull the other side around, pinch that on the fold, and now I'm ready to adhere. So on these two flaps, I'm putting my adhesive a little bit at each end. That guarantees me that the overlapped ends will stay together, but it also guarantees me that the adhesive is only where I want it to be, and it's not going to ooze out onto the card. We don't want our belly band sticking to our card. And again, you hear that? So it's snug enough to hold and not slide off, but loose enough that you can intentionally slide it on and off. And I just think a gatefold card is any fun fold is fun to give people, but I think there's something special about a gatefold card with a belly band. They pull off the belly band and then they're like, woo, and they read your message. And hopefully they get as excited, at least as excited, but I'm guessing the recipients get even more excitement than you do from making them. So all around, it's a win-win for us as the makers and creators and those that are recipients. So that was card B. And next, we're using these 4-inch by 2.5-inch rectangles cut from the One Sheet Wonder. And this time, we're making one of my favorite, but also one of the easiest fun folds. And when I tell you the name of it and I demonstrate it for you, it'll all come together and you're like, ah, so easy, Mary. So I'm starting with cardstock that measures 11 inches by 4.25. Okay, just like the first card, 11 inches by 4.25. Scored at 5.5 and folded that. Then what I want to do is this front flap, and I already put my cardstock in the middle or on the inside. Normally I would wait and do it after I make my cut here, but for the sake of time during One Sheet Wonders, a lot of the cards I do some steps, some prep work ahead of time. But normally I wouldn't have this in yet. But once you've scored and folded that, you want to cut off half of your front flap. And half of 5.5 inches is 2.75. And I'm going to go ahead and work assembly line right now and cut all of those pieces off. Again, cutting at 2.75 inch. And it's probably at this point, after I have that front cut, that I would put my cardstock on the inside, whether it be white or a color like I've used, a coordinating color. It might even be another DSP, depending on what you want to do. So now I've got my card bases, right? I've got these pieces of cardstock that I cut off. So I'm going to take one of these and adhere it to the front of each. So I'm going to flip it. So the name of this fun fold is called Cut and Flip. And you can see why. I took that piece and I flipped it. Okay. And I want to go ahead and adhere this to each of my card fronts. There's no cutting it down. You don't have to change the size. And to make sure that I only have adhesive where I need it and I'm not securing my card closed, I've put glue on the outer edge and then glue on the back left edge here. If you do that simple trick each time, you will never forget where you have to put the adhesive. Because that would be a bummer if we closed up our card, right? So I always like to start right here, and then the back of the left side of the cardstock that I am adhering, and then give it a good press for a few seconds. Using that liquid glue, that multi-purpose glue, will let you slide that around if you need to, so you can make sure you have even margins around that piece you're adhering. And one more. Oh, phooey. I wasn't supposed to put that on yet. Darn it, Mary. I was like, why is my red sitting there? That should have been on first. Phooey. Let me see if I can gently pull these off. Well, it might not be pretty, but I'm doing it. I didn't glance up at my cheat sheet like I should have. So it would have been fine had I not put a cardstock or DSP or something on this left flap, but no, we gotta make it pretty. We gotta make it special. Okay, this one's not looking pretty, but when I get finished with it, I promise it will be. So oops on me. So you got the idea of the cut and flip, but if you want to decorate your left side flap, do that before you add the cut piece. And I'm using real red, and this measures 2.5 by 4 inches. Okay, 2.5 by 4 inches. And trust me, when you see how this all comes together, you're going to be like, oh, Mary, that was a good idea to pull the cut and flip pieces off and add the red cardstock. I usually lay everything out in my envelope in the, I guess I did, in the steps I'm going to use it, but I didn't account for the cut and flip. Okay, you all get the idea though, right? Anybody, did I lose anybody on that? Let me check up here. Okay. Okay, I don't think so. Okay. Now I'm going to add that piece that I cut and flipped. Now, how many of you thought I was perfect? I hope you didn't, because I'm not. And if you did think that, today's a perfect example of, oh, Mary's not so perfect. We all make mistakes, and fortunately in this craft, many times we can easily correct our mistakes. Oh, it's hot in Minnesota. Yeah, we're in the 80s again here in Ohio. Yeah, we're still, I think they said in our area, we're about 10 degrees over normal. Now keep in mind, you can make these cards with any of your favorite designer series papers, any of your favorite colors, stamp sets, that sort of thing. Make them for different occasions. These obviously are holiday cards, Christmas cards I'll use. But what a great way to make up several easy Christmas cards at once. Just want to tuck that over there. Woo! Made it through. Made it through my air. Oh, you know, best laid plans, right? Even when I'm uber prepared, I can still make a mistake. So thank you for your understanding and your patience. Now I'm adding the 4-inch by 2.5-inch pieces of DSP that I cut from the One Sheet Wonder. Everybody remember the name of this fun fold? You probably won't forget since I made that mistake. Oh, Rebecca, great idea. She might use these, this template, One Sheet Wonder template and layouts to make Halloween cards for her grandchildren. Awesome. See, and that's what I love about One Sheet Wonder and card sketches. We can use them and adapt them to absolutely anything we want or need to. Everybody remember the name of this fun fold? Cut and flip, right? We started with an 11-inch by 4.25-inch card base. We cut off 2 3/4 inch of the front flap. We flipped it and built our card from there. Now, a couple things I want to talk about on the inside. Oh, Rebecca, you don't care for the pool party. Okay, that's all right. Normally I use white, but there was something just calling me because there's pool party in this background. And I thought, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone a little bit and go with the pool party. I also thought gold would look amazing, but I like to, and we even have some good, when I was showing you the designer series papers, there's some good subtle patterns that would work in here as well. But I like to be able to write inside my cards. And one thing you have to think about when you have a card like this is I don't want, when the cards close, I don't want them to see my writing. I want to stay within a certain space, okay? So this is what I have done. These pieces of white are cut 2 3/4 by 4 inches. So the same size as my red. All right. So it also means and it's the same size as the DSP. So that means what I could do is simply center this. So I have equal margins on the left half of the old olive showing on the top, bottom, and left side. Okay. But I need this white to be here. So to make sure, and you can eyeball it and center it. But here's a sure way to make sure that you have it in the right place and centered. Put it what would be face up on the flip part and the flap part. Put your adhesive on and then close the other side on top of it. And ta-da, easy peasy. The white is centered and it's also hidden. So I know to write my message right here and it will not come through and not look as pretty. Okay. This way I keep everything right in the middle. If I want to stamp another sentiment or image, write my note, it's there and it's hidden from the pretty front. So I'm going to do that with these other pieces. I need to use my, what do I want to call it? Adhesive remover. A little bit did seep out there after I made my mistake and pulled it up and all that. So again, I'm just laying it as if I were centering it on that front piece of Old Olive. And I'm going to flip this over and press down. And it's right where I need it to be. You might even consider putting some DSP or a different color here if you want to go to that level. So this little tip is a sure way to make sure that inside piece is covered and hidden and still centered and straight. And that is your cut and flip fun fold. Okay, so now I'm ready to add my sentiments, and let's talk about these for just a minute. I think I did the same. Yes, sending love and joy for each of them, but I used two different colors. I made two with real red and two with Old Olive. And what I can tell you is it cuts all this out as one piece. It's one die, making it really simple. The other thing I want to tell you is I don't know how everybody else is hearing them, but I adhered mine a little bit differently because I put dimensionals on the top part of the banner. So it pops up a little bit, but then the bottom of the banner is flat, just to give it a little bit more dimension. Okay. It was super easy to match up the stamped sentiment with the dies. No trouble at all. And there you could do the season's greeting on the same die. You could even play with some of the other mix and match sentiments in there. And that is my cut and flip fun fold cards for card sketch C. And then we have one more card to make using card sketch D. So on this one, I'm using a card base that measures 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored at 4.25 on the long side, fold in half. The inside white measures 5.25 inches by 4 inches. This piece of Secret C measures 4.25 inches across by 4 inches up and down, and it's going to be centered just like that. And on this is where I'm going to adhere these 3 pieces of Designer Series paper. Remember the 4-inch by 3-inch pieces, or 4-inch by 3.25-inch pieces. 4 by 3.25 cut from the One Sheet Wonder. We're actually flipping them over and have the back side up. And then the other piece measures 4 inches by 2 inches. And that was the very last piece from the One Sheet Wonder. So again, I'm adhering it to Secret C cardstock that measures 4.25 inches across and 4 inches high. And I'm centering that top to bottom and left to right. I've got some pool party strips. Somebody on there might want to flip these out for gold or another color. That's okay if you're not on board with my pool party accents. I don't ever want anybody to feel the pressure or feel bad about wanting to change things out. If I were doing that, if I were saying, oh, no, don't do that. Don't change the color. That wouldn't be helping you at all. That would not be helping you develop your creativity. Nobody wants to have their creativity squashed. Not to mention that we're all different. We all have different likes and dislikes. We all have different styles. Some might be more modern. Some might be more rustic looking card. You know, whatever your style is, stay true to that. The strips are, I believe, 3/8 inches. Let me double check. Yes, 3/8 of an inch by 4 inches. Okay. The strips on the left and right side are 3/8 of an inches of 3/8 of an inch by 4 inches. You know, Rebecca, I agree. And the other thing is, I was just telling this to somebody yesterday. I had what I'm calling my embossing and die cut queens here yesterday to help me. I'm preparing 30 class to go packets that I need to get sent out by the end of this week. And they came to help me. And we were just talking about that. And I said that I like this kind of interaction. I could do a video and post it, but when I have this kind of connection with my viewers, oftentimes I'm learning something, or somebody throws out an idea and I thought, ooh, I would never have thought about that. I wouldn't have thought about moving that piece here, or I wouldn't have thought about that color combination or whatever. So please know that when I'm sharing with you, you're often sharing your ideas with me, and I appreciate that. We learn from each other and we help each other grow in our creativity that way. And no matter what kind of education we're involved in, that's the way we learn, right? Through sharing of ideas. So here's that Merry and Bright. And again, it's two stamps on with the same color on the one die cut. And this is a case where in the first one that used the same die cut, I stamped Merry and then I stamped and Bright separately, two different colors. On this one, I could position the two stamps just right and put one block over them to pick up those stamps and stamp both at once. Okay. All right, my friends, let's take another look. So we had 3 of the bookbinding fun fold cards. We have 2 of the off-center gatefold cards. Usually I have a favorite card amongst the set. I don't this time. I feel like I like them all equally. We made 4 of the cut and flip cards. And then 1 using the last 3 pieces of DSP from our One Sheet Wonder. Now, in this video, you have been given all of the supplies I used, the colors I used. Oh, there it goes. We almost got through. We almost got through without the camera floating. Oh, that time it followed my hands. As I was saying, in this video, you've got all of the supplies, the names of the colors, the DSP, the stamp set, everything you need to recreate these cards, including the dimensions, scoring and cutting dimensions. If you are like me, however, and you want an actual PDF download or something you can print later, there are 2 ways you can get the PDF tutorial. And that PDF tutorial includes the One Sheet Wonder template, the 4 card sketches, and all the dimensions for all the pieces are on it, supply list, color photos, and directions to make all of the cards. Okay? There's 2 ways you can get that. You can get it free when you place a $50 Stampin' Up! Order with me in the month of October 2025. And if you've already placed, I know there's somebody that already placed an order yesterday, and that person will get it too. It goes from October 1st, the first of the month, to the last day of the month. Or if you are your own demonstrator, you buy from yourself, or you have another demonstrator that you purchase from and don't want to place a Stampin' Up! Order with me, you can just buy the PDF tutorial at stampinpiece.com. Okay, buy it on my website, stampinpiece.com, click on shop, and then go to PDF tutorials at the bottom of the drop-down menu. Let me point out here, this system of selling the PDFs is set up so that once you pay for the PDF you're purchasing, or PDFs, you can download them yourself right from the site. You just look for the download column, and then underneath it will be a colored box with the name of the PDF you purchased. And you click on that, and it downloads the PDF for you. Okay? It has been set up that way for your convenience. If for some reason you have trouble downloading the PDF, or you can't find where to do it. Sometimes people are ordering on their phone and they can't find it. All you have to do is reach out to me, stampinpeace.com, fill out a contact form, and it goes right to my email. Okay? Thank you so much for spending part of your Thursday with me. I have to admit that the first Thursday of the month is always exciting for me because not only do I enjoy designing the one-sheet wonders and card sketches so much, the real fun and the real joy comes in being able to share them with all of you. I think I saw a suggestion going to, what did I see? Sandy is using Need for Tweed because they would make great masculine cards. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love all the ideas I'm seeing. Rebecca, always a pleasure for me to share as well. Thanks a million for being here. Hi, Doris. I'm going to scroll really quickly and see if I missed any questions. Now that I'm getting the hang of this, Desert Deb, yes, I think I did answer that. The strips on the last card, 3/8 inch by 4 inches. Okay, 3/8 by 4 inches. 3/8 by 4 inches. Oh, thank you for all your kind words. Okay, I didn't see any more questions. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Next week, I'm going to be showing more ideas using the Traditions of Christmas suite. However, they aren't all projects for Christmas. I love the versatility in this suite, and I want to be able to show you some of that versatility because, again, it's a suite that was designed initially for holiday projects, but it doesn't have to be just holiday. So hopefully you'll tune in next week. I also might be putting some ideas up on my blog, stampinpeace.com, that may not have a video to go with them. So be sure to check that out as well. And if you like what you see here, I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. I'm on the push to get to 15,000 subscribers. And I know I'm over 14,500. So let's see how quickly I can get us up to 15,000 subscribers. Have a great weekend. And what am I doing this weekend? I'll be doing some work tomorrow and then baking cookies. The family is getting together on Saturday to celebrate Andrea's birthday. She's 34. That's so hard to believe because I don't feel 60. Some days I do, but yeah, 34. Oh, that's hard to say even. But she's not big into cake, so she asked for homemade cookies and ice cream. So I said, I'll do the cookies. But we're all going to the pumpkin patch, having a fall day, and then we'll have lunch. Later in the evening, we're having tacos, which was her request. And we'll be sitting down in the evening to watch the OSU game. I hope you have a great weekend. Be sure to find moments for peace and calm and just being able to do something for you. Bye-bye.